So in the previous couple of videos, we have been building this simple profile page that has scrollable content, has a fixed header at the top, fixed footer at the bottom that does not scroll with the main content. So in this video, we're going to add a couple of things to the header and the footer. We're going to add a couple of links here, perhaps an icon or button that would mimic the some of the actions that are also available on the page, like update or log out. So for instance, for the update button, let's add here like a checkbox that would have the same effect as clicking on the update button. Right now, clicking on the update button just reloads the page. Presumably this would go out to some server-side logic that would update any fields that we update here on our profile. So let's add a link here. So if we go to the header in the code, here it is, right? There's where we have the implementation of the navbar, and we have the header represented here. So let's add another element here that does the link. So to do that, let's select one of these components from the Bootstrap components that have several glyphicons at the very top from getbootstrap.com and then components. And let's grab the checkbox over here. This checkbox we can add here a hyperlink and then apply those classes, those glyphicon classes, to a span. There we go. And if we reload the page of our profile, we see that, okay, so that's where the glyphicon would show, but it looks like it's broken. It's looking for the implementation definition of those images, and it uses the location of the Bootstrap page. Okay, it looks like this one's referring to this one right here, bootstrap.css, and what's missing is the fonts that implement those icons, and those are actually located way out here, right, in a directory that's outside of our assignments directory. So what we could do is that instead of using this CSS here, perhaps we could use this one over here, this CSS, which is one directory above, which is a sibling of the assignments directory, and the Bootstrap needs to be in a directory that is a sibling to the fonts directory. Okay, these are the the definitions of all the glyphicons. So let's change this to use one higher, right? So instead of using this Bootstrap here, it's going to use this Bootstrap here in a CSS directory that's sibling to the assignments directory. Let's try it again, and if we refresh, there we go. So there's the checkbox. But it's not exactly what we want. That's what we wanted to show is way up here, pulled all the way to the right-hand side. So to do that, what we could do is use a pull right, a class pull right that is defined by Bootstrap that would pull the icon to the right-hand side. There we go. So that's pulled to the right-hand side. But notice that it's being rendered below the header. So what we could do is move the location of these hyperlink and put it above our div. Right, and try that again. Okay, so that's a little better. But notice that there's no padding around it, right? And there's some classes that are specific to the navbar, right? Notice that the header has nice white spaces all around. Has, I think this is like 15 pixel padding on the left, and it's centered above and below, according to with respect to the header. We want something similar for this checkbox, and there's a couple of classes that we can and some layout that we can grab from Bootstrap. And the layout's something as follows, right? We would put the content, right? The content that we want to add white spacing around, right? And we would add classes that are specific to living inside of a navbar. In this case, the class is navbar. I think it's navbar, like yeah, there it is, navbar text. This one's going to add the necessary padding all around, so that it's centered vertically, and also has some padding on the right hand side. And this pull right is actually would be applied to this outer div. Right, this whole thing is going to be moved all the way to the right hand side. Right, so if we refresh there we go. So we have we have some vertical um, padding, and let's see how it behaves as we move it left and right. So what we might want to do is add some additional padding on either side. And the way we could achieve this, right, is if we could perhaps put the whole thing, right, inside of a container fluid. Oh, there it is. So here's the container fluid. So actually, this whole thing perhaps could live inside here. So let's put it in here. Let's see that, because the container fluid is the one who's going to add paddings between left and right. So let's see if we refresh. There we go. There we go. We have the margin on the right hand side. That's looking actually very nice. Okay. There we go. So we added the links to the top. Right. In the next video we'll show you how to add some links on the footer, perhaps to like tabs that will allow you to navigate between different sections of the application.